Just quieten down, baby.
Per capita export value.
Libraries.
Minister, are you embarrassed by your behavior today?
There's a lot of bleeding hearts around.
Do you have the fortitude or the gonads to stand up and come across here and say that to me, you son of a bitch?
Just watch me.
He certainly went too far, Mr. Speaker, when I saw him stick his tongue out.
Contemptuous disregard.
More than a slab of bacon talking here.
The disappointment you also feel is my responsibility.
I lost my temper. What is the nature of your thoughts?
The word was F-A-R-T.
Hello, welcome to Canadian Politics is Boring, the show about Canadian politics that is for people who don't like them or want more things. Jesse,
I was just talking about how great you are at marketing, and then you go and you disappoint me with something like that.
Sorry.
Reese, try it again. This time, I'm going to direct you. This time, I want you to pretend that you're hyped up on a bucket of cocaine. Okay, have just stubbed your toe and are surprised. And action.
I don't want to. I don't take direction very well.
Yeah, I noticed. Okay.
I've got a rebellious streak in me that makes me want to do the opposite of anything and anyone ever tells me. It's why I'm such a terrible employee.
You own two companies.
Yeah, exactly. I don't.
Yeah.
I work for me. That's the only way that I can work. So,
how are you doing? How's the pandemic? Are you going crazy yet? It's been 2 years.
We haven't recorded in person for a while, and I miss those fun times.
I do. I miss having to look into the deadness of your eyes and wonder how on earth the soul exists in there.
Those dark black holes, equal eyes.
It's frightening. To tell you the truth.
Slowly consuming mass and time through my eyes.
The number of times I've watched your face slowly consume itself as if a black hole existed in the middle of your face was
only to be reborn as a star.
Right? Yeah.
What a face. Anyway, well, I was feeling.
That's why your wife married you, because she was terrified of being sucked into your black hole. Yes, whatever you want. Yes,
that was it. That was in our vows, actually. Anyway, I'm in a good mood because we got another SpeakPipe message.
Another SpeakPipe message. Huzzah!
Are you ready?
I'm ready, Reese. Play it, baby.
Hello, Reese and Jesse. This is Lynette, and I am from Alberta. I'm a longtime listener, and I just wanted to say, keep going. I really appreciate your show. I do really like to hear your views on things. I also wanted to say I was listening to the Weird Laws episode, and if I remember correctly, and this is probably a game of telephone by now, but I think it had something to do, the yellow margarine had something to do with Quebec and their dairy industry and their butter. I don't remember the details, and this could be an old wives' tale, but you could always research it and give it a try. Anyhow, thanks again, and just keep doing your thing. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, that was really nice. Thank you, Lynette, for reaching out.
Thank you.
It was very sweet. I'm guessing, are we going to be learning more about that episode now? Is that what this is?
I pulled up more research on that. So, and then we're going to move on to another topic for this episode. But I thought, we should get through this inquiry. So, yeah, and also Lynette, the way you said I say margarine, but she said margarine, and I thought
margarine is how we pronounce it here.
That's quite cool
in the real world.
Anyway, not in the past, like where I come from.
Right.
So, what happened was when margarine became. See,
when you say margarine, I'm picturing you talking about a person, like your next door neighbor, Margarine
Jones.
Yeah.
It's like a detective novel. Margarine Jones in the case of the antique aubergine or something.
You mean the woman with one leg shorter than the other?
Margarine Jones investigates another crime in Victorian Britain. Anyway.
As she hobbles her way to the truth.
Exactly. No one is as slippery as Margarine Jones. Anyway.
She has no traction on the bottom of her feet.
I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so Quebec
got margarine on them.
in the 1970s, Quebec was shook by the rising popularity of margarine, and the dairy farmers were so threatened that they insisted that margarine wasn't coloured yellow because it threatened their butter industry.
I think didn't you mention this?
I did, but this I've actually found the data about it, and it was the law was in effect for 21 years. So in July 2008, July the 8th, 2008, they changed the law because the Quebec dairy farmers dropped their kind of blocking of yellow margarine because margarine's popularity had dropped. And butter had regained its popularity with consumers, so they weren't threatened by margarine anymore. So it could be yellow again.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So there we go.
So it was just white. I mean, they could have picked any other color.
I would have gone for like
puke green, just like
pink,
fluorescent green, it's
fluorescent pink.
Yes. Oh my God. Can you imagine how cool that would be?
Yeah.
Like spreading cotton candy on your toast.
Exactly. You just go, oh my God, this tastes so good, even though it's the same, but the colors trick my brain.
Before we jump into the next topic, I do have a small business that I'd like to promote.
Oh, do it.
Just because
Sorry, I just got bubbly at my nose. Pardon me. Carry on.
Snorting whiskey again.
No, I'm drinking the bubbly and black.
The bubbly.
Blackberry bubbler. Go on.
So just like since we're doing, we're promoting
the small businesses.
Yeah. So it's my buddy Patrick's wife, Kimberly. She has a website where she sells designs and pieces and really neat stuff that you should like, paintings, and it's hard to describe. Really neat canvas paintings. I'm doing a horrible job advertising this. You're a really good marketer. You should be doing this.
Well, I haven't seen the website, so go to that website that Jesse's friend's partner has that has all things on it.
Like watercolors with like oil paintings on really neat shaped canvases, like octagonal shaped canvases, and like other shapes.
Wow.
I'm looking at it now. There's really, really cool stuff. It's very trippy. It's really, really trippy.
What's the website?
The website, and Patrick agrees with me, is just a really long and difficult name to remember. So get out your pen.
You're really nailing this. Nailing this.
I know. ShaktiKdesigns.onuniverse.com.
I'm not even going to bother typing.
Right? Okay. So
you should, though, listeners.
Shakti, like SHAKTI.
Yeah.
And then just K.
Okay.
And then designs. ShaktiKdesigns.onuniverse.com. Now, Patrick told me that they were getting another more memorable website URL, but that doesn't happen between that conversation and now. So this is what you get. If you want a really neat painting as a gift or something for your treehouse, go to ShaktiKdesigns.onuniverse.com. There you go.
I tried to type it and I messed it up, and I don't know. I'm on like a 404.
Oh,
anyway.
And my buddy Patrick's awesome podcast, if you're ever stressed out and just want to relax, is called We Live on a Planet, which I've talked about before.
Yay. It's also true.
Yeah, it's debatable by a lot of people, but
some people think we live on a disc.
I know.
So
they
anyway.
really do.
And we're actually going to talk about those kind of people today for this episode.
Are you fucking serious?
No, well, this is...
That would have been coincidental.
So obviously we're recording this and the blockades are still happening. Like maybe they've ended by the time this episode goes out. But about how angry
are we talking about the fucking Karen convoy?
No, we're not. No. Do you know what? We're talking about this. This episode is all about the fact that the Public Health Agency of Canada has tracked the locations of 33 million Canadians during the pandemic using their phones.
Hold on, say that again?
The Public Health Agency of Canada has tracked the locations of 33 million Canadians' mobile devices during the pandemic.
How?
I'll get into the detail of that. But the reason I want to talk about this was all those people protesting about their rights and their freedom under that guise of all that have completely overlooked this, and has been in the news for a while. The fact that their actual phones are being tracked by Public Health Canada because of COVID. I've not seen one of them mention it. I've not seen it on any side, or it's not been a talking point I've seen anyway. So where is this something that actually experts are concerned about in terms of like overreach of privacy? The people who are apparently freedom fighters, it hasn't even registered with them that this is a thing.
They're not freedom fighters. We can get into that though.
No, I'm not saying they are. I think they are.
Well, they don't even think they are, is my point. They just want to be in a club. Honestly.
I know. They want attention.
They do. And everyone wants attention. We look at what we're doing. Just so, everyone kind of wants to be heard. And some people get in with the right crowd and some people get in with the wrong crowd, right? It's just, they're just saying what everybody else is saying. Freedom. They don't really know why they're saying it or they don't do research or.
No, but a lot of the stuff they talk about is nonsense. But this is something they could talk about that actually people would make people go, oh, yeah, that is a bit concerning.
Like the disturbing amount of personal data that TikTok is allowed to get off your phone because you give them access to, but people well, whatever. Exactly. It's TikTok,
It's like they don't get a vaccination. They're going to put a chip in you to track you, just like the phone I've got.
Do you have any idea how expensive that would be? Jesus Christ. Just like exactly. That's like the phone I've got.
Yeah. As you share that message on TikTok.
Okay, so there's an app on my phone that I purposely downloaded that I have never once used, called COVID Alert. Is this the app you're talking about?
No,
it's
supposed to. So it wasn't even an app. But I mean, if you download that app and you want to take part in that kind of tracking, in the UK they had an app on your phone you could install.
Just lets you know if you came close to someone else who was infected.
Exactly. But they had to scrap it in the UK because
I have it. I don't, by saying I didn't use it, I just mean I've never had to use it. It's never given me an alert. It's never told me anything.
But the issue with the UK was that if you were in a traffic jam, and you were just near somebody in a different vehicle who had it, then you could essentially get a message saying, hey, you need to self-isolate, even though you were nowhere near them. Because it was just all location based. But anyway, so this story is that apparently this was a National Post article from December the 24th. Due to the urgency of the pandemic, PHAC, or Public Health Agency of Canada, collected and used mobility data such as cell tower location data during the COVID-19 response. So what they did was they were trying to evaluate the effectiveness of public lockdown measures, and it was to allow the agency to understand possible links between movement of populations within Canada and the spread of COVID-19. And the idea was it was de-identified aggregated data, so they could see.
What does that mean?
I think the idea was it was like you could see a little blip move in, or you go, oh, that phone moved there, or that kind of person moved there, but it didn't necessarily mean they could pull up who you were and your information.
Wouldn't matter. People are going to get pissed off at this anyway.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how detailed or not detailed. They might as well have gone full fucking detailed because people are going to get just as mad either way.
Exactly. So, and their plan is to track people's movement for roughly the next 5 years to address other public health issues such as other infectious diseases, chronic disease prevention, and mental health. So the idea is they're just trying to, So, a lot of people are getting angry about this. The government,
well, of course, because for one thing, and we won't get into that, is people love to get fucking angry. They love it, and they look for reasons to. And this is just another fucking reason to. We don't have to get into that because that's going down a different road. But man, people fucking love to get angry, especially if you can give them a reason to. How does that fucking impact your life at all? Other than positively down the road. People are used to data aggregation being a negative thing because of fucking Facebook.
Exactly.
It's and social media conglomerates like them have turned it into this horrible, horrible term, and you're taking away their freedom and you're making a profit off it. This is fucking Health Canada trying to better understand how to make our lives better. But fucking who gives a fucking shit if they found out that you went to the corner store on Sunday and don't know your name? It's just
exactly. They know a person went there. They don't know who went there. Why? how
Freedom! My freedom is being blocked.
But this is the funny thing about it. So David Lyon, who's author of The Pandemic Surveillance and is the former director of the Surveillance Studies Center at Queen's University, basically said that he can see how the surveillance surge during the pandemic was way bigger than the surveillance surge after 9/11.
Well, I mean, we have more technology to do it now,
and I think that is way easier to kind of. Whereas before, hacking people's phones and no one was sharing. You think of 9/11, like no one was sharing. There was no TikTok or all those.
Can you
platforms.
fucking imagine? Could you fucking imagine 9/11 with TikTok around?
People dancing.
Like, seriously, though. Like, selfies while the building collapsed. Honest to God, that would have happened.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, I would like to bring up something Russell Brand touched on. I don't know if this was his idea or not, which is, so what I just said about, like, who cares? Privacy, schmarvacy, blah, 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 blah. It's not impacting your life directly. However, and he brought up an interesting point that made me think about it. And it wasn't about privacy at the time. He was talking about vaccines and vaccine mandates, specifically vaccine mandates. And in this particular instance, how the government is mandating that you do something with your body, which, you and I, we know the science. We have some reputable sources of information that we've, kind of vetted. We get it. We're like, okay, yeah, we believe this. It's for the greater good, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. His point was not about the specifics. His point was the fact that it's a slippery slope about what we allow our government to do now and how easily that could slide into them doing other things in the future. And that we don't need to necessarily stop them every time they try. We just kind of have to keep our finger on the pulse sort of thing. So like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but people being on mass vaccination is like that's always been a thing.
No, but it's not about the vaccine. It's not about what they're doing. It's about how they're going about it. It's about the government dictating and mandating what you do and do not do with your body, as an example, right? It's just same with like privacy right now with them not telling us that they're tracking our phones, so that and the intent is good. The intent is a healthy intent. It's for bettering the health of the public, and getting statistics so that we understand pandemics more, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's got a rosy glow on it, right? But the idea, and this isn't my idea. I'm just sharing this from what I've heard from other people, and it kind of makes sense. Is we have to make sure that we don't completely gloss over, like, whatever, it's not affecting my life. Fucking do what you want. Because then they will do what they want. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but I think I understand now that a little bit of pushback can be a good thing. It just lets them know they can't get away with whatever the fuck they want, even though what they're currently doing, I agree with. Does that make sense?
I mean, the vast majority of people agree with it. So it's hard. Like, at what point do you go, oh, this is the government telling everyone to do everything and they just fall into line, or the government, enacting what the public actually want? Mm-hmm. Obviously that's messy and overlaps, but there's no way they'd go, right, everyone, you all have the vaccinations. Now what we want to do is put a HDMI cable in your temple, just so that you can get more information better from us. And
I really thought you were going to say up your ass. I really thought that was just
that would have been too easy. But anyway, the thing is, like, people like Russell Brand, though, and all those people, and you've said this yourself, is people get really worried about the government tracking their data. And
not information. Not about that. It's not what Russell Brand's saying. He's just relaying information.
No, but
it's anyway.
But private companies, people have no problem giving all of their data away.
Oh yeah, isn't that fucking weird? Okay, when was the last time that the government sent you a cute cat video? The government takes your money away from you, gives you calls, as if we've heard from the last fucking podcast we did. They call you up and they tell you to go fuck yourself, right?
Well,
If you listen to the last podcast.
It's like last night, me and my wife were looking at some wall art on the internet, going, "Oh, then maybe that would look nice." And then all day today, while I've
wall art, you should go to Shaq Designs on universe.com.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wall art.
I tried.
It's actually wall art.
I did try. But the thing is that now today, all of my browser, I'm being targeted by wall art. And you brought it up as well, which is weird. So, like
I just want to come into your home once and ask, hey, can I check my email real quick? And then just like populate your Google algorithm with nothing but like just the dirtiest porn ever. So, and like weird sex toy ads will pop up for I just want to fuck with your algorithm. Sorry, continue.
Please don't. That's a t-shirt. I just want to fuck with your algorithm. Exactly. So, I mean, that was the thing. The thing is that Public Health Canada, there's not some giant like mission control where they've got this giant TV screen with like all like dots and they're tracking people and there's like some evil general with a like a hat. There's none of that. Essentially,
he's evil because of the hat.
So the Public Health Canada were just basically getting this information from the private companies that own all the cell towers and run the location data.
Right.
So these are private companies who have all this information already.
You haven't even told me about the backlash. I just assumed there was.
Well, that's the thing. There hasn't really been much of a backlash. No one's really paying attention to it because, and again, you could easily. I haven't seen any of those protesters talk about this. They're like, oh, they're tracking us. Mainly because,
are you really surprised?
No, but that's my point. Like the people in that convoy, they were big shots in high school, and then everyone went on and had a life, and now they finally found meaning again. You know what I mean? Anyway,
that's a really good insult. I like that.
Yeah, everyone moved on. Sword. Everyone had a life, and finally they're relevant again. So, and this was it. Teresa Scaza, who researches information law policy at the University of Ottawa. Basically, her quote said, "People seem much more concerned about government access and data than they are about the fact that it's being collected so widely and rapaciously by the private sector." And she said that Canada's age and privacy laws in the age of big data are kind of not fit for purpose. And the private sector is collecting and using sensitive information for profit, and governments are just the clients of those businesses. So it's not that data is already out. There's probably way more identifying data out there that essentially the government is just buying what is on the market through data brokers.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's not government control. They're just going, there's a marketplace for all this data and we can use that. So it's the laws are out of date. People are giving their data away massively anyway, and one government department just said maybe we should buy some information that could help us during the pandemic. That's kind of what's happened here.
So is this episode? There's not even a response. This episode is the government's buying some location data and nobody cares.
But I kind of feel like
you're right. Nobody cares.
No. But my point is that the headline made it seem like they were tracking people in this top secret scheme that it was like in the government. You know, people always imagine the government's doing it with these like kind of secretive centers where they can watch stuff and track stuff. All they did was just like call up a data broker and go, "Hey, have you got this?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we can get that." And then they just bought it off.
Thank you for the money. No, I've worked with the government. I guarantee you, they don't know what they're doing.
No, exactly. They don't have all that, but that data exists. It's not that data didn't exist, and the government then created a way to extract that data. That data is there. They just bought it,
right?
But you don't know who has that data. They're not bound by laws like the government.
Right.
And those companies that have that data aren't even in Canada, probably.
You're just making that part up now. We're just making up shit as we go now. Okay.
No. But I'm just saying that Google isn't a Canadian company.
That's true.
And they do a lot of tracking. All the algorithms with the shopping and the pictures and stuff, that's through Google. And TikTok is not a North American company either. Obviously, like Twitter and Facebook are. So,
did you hear? Actually, speaking, this is in the news recently, and I typically don't read the news, so I don't know a lot about this. But this was huge. about Apple's new security policy, new tracking data and app policy. So Apple has this new policy in place where if an app wants to collect data from your phone and from so basically like Facebook, how Facebook is making so much insane amount of money is called it's a pixel. It's a Facebook pixel, and you place it in different websites, and they sell it to you as the website owner as you'll be able to track your users' data with this sort of thing, blah, 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 etc. But it's Facebook's way of tracking data and they're on millions and millions and millions of websites around there. So if you log on to Facebook, okay, and then you browse off of Facebook and you go to Amazon and you buy something at Amazon, and then you just Google, I want to look up silly putty stories, and then you do that and whatever, and you just surf the web for a fucking hour. Facebook knows every single fucking website you visited and what you bought, what you looked at, how much time you spent looking at all that. This is where Facebook is making all of their fucking money from. Okay, is they know exactly what your browsing history is and all this stuff from the Facebook pixel. Same as Google. Google has a pixel as well. It's called the pixel, and they're on websites. Okay, so Apple has recently changed their policy for apps such as the Facebook app, which, yes, was able to track your browsing history on your phone itself. Okay, so that if apps wanted to track what you did outside of the app itself, it now had to ask your permission and couldn't deny you access to the app for saying no. This lost Facebook something in the somewhere like billions of dollars in revenue overnight when this happened, because this is Facebook's entire business model, is tracking where you go outside of Facebook. Maybe not entire business model, but it's a huge chunk of it. And their stock plummeted. They lost gobs and gobs and gobs of money, and all of it's really
a lot of money.
It's kind of funny. Honestly, just from Apple going we want our users to have a little bit more privacy. So there you go.
Exactly, and they should. But I think this is the interesting.
Just as an aside, I thought that was a fascinating fucking turn of events in the news lately. So,
and that's the thing is how the government uses that data, and also how anyone can go buy that data.
Right. Yeah.
So if we wanted to kind of I wonder where all our listeners are and where they are right now. I don't know. Could we buy that? I have no idea.
Yeah. Imagine we're looking at you, Lynette.
Let's track Lynette. So,
we know you bought a muffin this morning.
Exactly. So I don't know, but I just find it interesting that the headline was trying to make it seem like it was a government thing, whereas all they did was put a contract out saying, hey, we want to buy this data and find this information out. And they said, oh, this is worse than 9/11 security and all this kind of thing. And you kind of just go, it's inevitable, I guess, that the government would start to get that kind of information. Much like they'd ask for a poll or a survey, that data is just out there for people to purchase from people like Facebook or Google or whatever.
Right.
And also that even if you did
So the headline was Government of Canada purchased data that already exists.
No, the government was... Canada's health agency admits it tracked locations for 33 million de-identified mobile devices during lockdown. No, they didn't. Somebody else did, and they just bought the information off them.
Health Canada admits that they bought location data the same as 327 other companies did.
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's it's the story is that the story...
It just sounds like clickbait. Where'd you find this?
Exactly.
What news source was this?
This was from the Ottawa Citizen, which is a newspaper in Ottawa.
Yeah, are we sure that that's a reputable source of news here, Reese?
I think so. I think it is. It's not like
we really have to be careful these days. Honestly,
it's not like an InfoWars kind of site.
I was thinking about this honestly. But
I didn't. That wasn't the only source. That was where that headline was from.
I mean, I know we are technically a comedy podcast, but I do believe people probably might believe us when we tell them a bit of news, and that's dangerous in itself because we don't know what we're talking about. We're so we should really be careful where we get our news sources from.
Well, that was from the Ottawa Citizen is a newspaper.
It doesn't mean it's a good one.
No. but I'm not reading it and saying agreeing
Just
with
because
everything.
it's a newspaper doesn't automatically mean they're not full to the brim with corruption.
But my point is that we used her as a source.
We got our newspaper badges last week. We're totally fine.
But we used her as a source and we discussed it, and we're actually pulling apart the article and the perspective of saying the government tracked everyone. So
no, but I'm saying
we're not like saying
be,
that it is like gospel.
No, but I mean, like if you came to me with a headline from like the National Enquirer,
I didn't.
We wouldn't have to pull it apart because it's just.
No, but you asked me to read what the headline was.
I'm just saying.
Okay, no, sorry. Well, anyway, I mean, obviously, read if you see a headline that is clickbaity, take the time to ignore it or read the article and then look for other articles.
15 ways that Health Canada has tracked your location this year.
But anyway,
number 13 will shock you. But
the truck convoy high school heroes, they, this isn't like. If they wanted to like take that headline and make it seem even worse and more dramatic, see, they're even tracking our phones and all this kind of thing. They could, but no one seems to. It's just I'm just saying it's low hanging fruit for them, but no one's paying attention to it, and no one's paying attention to the real story that they didn't track people. That data is already there. They just asked to buy some of it. So anyway.
Our news is getting ridiculous, man. It almost feels like they're reaching. Like they're.
But that newspaper, I don't think they obviously.
Even with the trucking convoy, like just because you're a news agent, do you have to cover everything? Just because it's kind of popular.
CTV in Alberta has taken the branding off their vehicles because they were getting attacked.
What? Because they covered it?
No, because when they were driving around in like CTV branded vehicle as reporters, they were being targeted.
By who?
People who don't like media.
No, is this during the convoy sort of thing?
No, right now, I think as it's going on, doing all this stuff, people are emboldened to go, mainstream media is lying. That kind of stuff.
I mean, that's a different topic we can get into that I'd actually be kind of interested in learning more about. From what I understand, I don't understand, which is the thing. Like, I'd like to understand. But from kind of what I've been hearing, there's a lot of corruption happening inside, like a lot of people like just in bed with politicians and with corporations, and these are media conglomerates in some fashion. And like apparently misinformation and misdirection is not just like in our heads. Apparently it is happening, sort of thing, with news sources that we once trusted. So like I don't know this, but like I'm hearing over and over and over again that this is happening. I'm like,
yeah, but it doesn't mean you should attack a CTV.
No, not where I'm going with that. I'm just saying, like, as a topic, I think we should talk about it sometime.
We could talk about it. We should definitely do an episode on it because newspapers are privately
you shouldn't attack the fucking news van. You should
exactly.
If you're going to attack anybody. Like,
I think the
push over a truck in the convoy. Just
part of the problem is that news has become clickbaity, and it's news
hugely
clickbaity.
Hugely.
So the focus of what is now like a marketplace of people reporting on what gets traffic rather than. And I think this is why I really like more of the independent journalists who are now being funded by Patreon or however, because they can focus purely on. You look at like the Halifax Examiner here in this city, it's a small journalistic outfit that goes for that kind of, we're just going to try and do good journalism, and it's funded by people who want us to try and give impartial reporting on things.
I feel like impartial journalism is no longer a thing. I feel like it's all based on ratings and likes.
Yeah, top 10 things about stuff. And you won't believe what Justin Trudeau had in his pocket today. That kind of stuff.
But not only that, but they've got competition for the first time ever. News sources have competition
from idiots,
idiots with phones, with large, like just.
But also,
I think people who watch them on TikTok and Instagram because they really like their makeup tutorials. These people are suddenly reporting the fucking news.
I know, honestly, I think like it is terrifying how journalistic integrity and the ability for journalists to just go out and find stories without being interfered with by, the owners of that media organization. but even that in itself is a misdirection. I think most people who go into journalism go into it because they want to just find good stories and expose truths and kind of share news and information in that way. I think that there are media organizations that do have agendas and things, but fundamentally, when you boil down to it, nobody goes to journalism school because they want to trick everyone. People go to journalism school because they want to tell important stories and share them with a wider audience. So I think the structures that people do journalism in have changed over time, which is why publicly funded journalism is important, because there's no business agenda. There's no, say an oil company buys a newspaper, you're only going to get good news about oil, and in a minute you're going to downplay global warming stories, for instance. That's going to happen.
I remember I was working for a company, and they had me editing fucking not promotional, but I swear to God, it was propaganda videos for liquefied natural gas. And it made me feel so fucking dirty. Like, I stopped. I told my boss, I'm not doing it anymore. And he argued with me, but I'm like, nope, I'm not. I just feel gross. And it was gross. It was like anyway, that's a different story altogether. But yeah. Good times, good memories.
Anyway, so in conclusion, protect your data.
Yep.
Yeah. So speakpipe.com/Canadian politics is boring. Patreon.com/Canadian politics is boring. If you want to be part of the super elite secret club that we've got.
I know we put out free shit, and we're more stuff is coming.
And
thank you to those who are patrons, by the way. You guys are legends and rock stars. Yeah.
So cool. So
and don't forget, Reese, tell them to go to Patrick's wife's website.
Moonbeam.
Kimberly is her name. Hi, Kimberly.
Moonbeam K Universe Time.
That's it. It's
.com.
Shakti, SHAKTI. T-I? Let's try that again, Jesse. Shakti, SHAKTI. Designs.onuniverse.com. I know.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. I tried, man.
Surgeons keep our hearts beating. They do the amazing, help save lives, and so can you. Your CSL plasma donation can help create 24 critical life-saving medicines that can give Grandpa the chance for his heart to swell when he meets his new grandson, or give a bride the chance for her heart to skip a beat on her wedding day. Every plasma donation helps more than you know. Do the amazing. Help save lives. Donate today at your local CSL Plasma Center and be rewarded for your time.